This is the Padres POSTCAST, your instant game reaction for the San Diego Padres. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's up, Padre fan? Welcome to your Padres POSTCAST on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. My name is Jim Greasehaber. Call me Grease, and man, oh man, can't get out of LA soon enough at this point. 4-3 the final tonight, 3 in a row in this series for the Dodgers, and of course now 5-1 on the season against the Padres, and even more important than that, at least I think at this point in time, an even bigger lead in the National League West, but more and more proof that the Dodgers are just leagues above the Padres. And, you know, you can talk about Robert Suarez blowing it again tonight, a non-save situation. That's twice again, you know, and in the last week, once in Arizona, once in LA. And it's just been a tough go of it for Suarez. And he doesn't look like the best closer in baseball anymore, does he? And it doesn't look like anything is really going his way. So unfortunately, a tough loss tonight, 4-3, the final for the Dodgers, and they get the victory. Will Smith with a walk-off homer. And it was right after the Padres came back and tied it up too. Cronenworth the sac fly, Bogaerts the double. They can't get the run home from third with one out. I mean, it happens over and over again. It is what it is. It's Padres POSTCAST and the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Jim Greasehaber, call me Grease. Thank you for bearing with us these last couple of days with the technical issues we've had. But also, thank you so much for making us your first listen, first watch every day. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. And I will tell you what, it has been an interesting ride lately, both for us and for the Padres, but no surprises here. The audience just keeps on surging. Really appreciate that. And while you're here, by the way, hey, smash that subscribe, hit that bell so you get the alerts when we're coming your way with more content, and come on and say hi in the chat, in the mailbag, wherever you are, right? We're free on YouTube, free on Roku, free wherever you listen to your podcast too. Spotify, Stitcher, Podbean, Apple, iHeart, you name it. We are free there as well. All right, just getting started. Padres POSTCAST on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Jim Greasehaber, call me Grease. 4-3 the final, 3 in a row in LA. They have dropped, not because I want to, but because I have to. I'm going to tell you how and why it happened. It's your POSTCAST right here, Locked On Padres Podcast, same channel on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Let's roll.
This is what you'll be talking about.
The picture's not working in StreamYard tonight, but I don't know if you guys really even want to deal with all that, do you? Jim Greasehaber, call me Grease, Padres POSTCAST on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. And tonight's episode is brought to you by Monarch Money. That's right, you guys know all about Monarch Money. And Monarch Money is the place where you can take control of your finances. Use code LOCKEDONMLB at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. And real quick, just have to introduce you guys to Zaza. She just had to say hi. She's getting curious climbing up here. So get down, baby. We'll see you soon. So Zaza made her first appearance on your Padres POSTCAST on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day, my little Siamese, if you please. All right, Will Smith with the tie-breaking homer in the bottom of the ninth. That's his third career pinch hit home run. That's a walk-off, right? So 3 times in his career. That ties him with Rick Monday. We love Rick Monday because of what he did with the American flag. Look up Rick Monday. Dodger fans love Rick Monday because he hit home runs, pinch hits coming off the bench, and Big Willie style all in it. He had the tie-breaking homer last night, the game-winning homer tonight, and 4-3 is the final. You know, even when he's on the bench, he's beating you when he pinch hits. The Padres had just tied it up against Wroblewski, too, with Bogaerts, the double to the gap. And I know, you know, you had just put Brandon Lockridge in the game to pinch run for Manny Machado. Manny had obviously reached on an error. It was the fielder's choice. They threw it away and everybody's safe. Well, they run Lockridge while in that position. Why? Because Lockridge is obviously the go-ahead run. They're down 2. He's on first base. So what do? They run Lockridge. And then Cronenworth hits the sac fly, first and second, with 1 out. What happens next? Bogaerts hits the gapper to the wall, and Lockridge gets a bad read on the ball. I'm so sick of this, man. These left fielders can't do anything right for the Padres. He gets a bad read on the ball, gets a bad jump on it, and doesn't end up scoring. Doesn't end up scoring on a ball that goes all the way to the wall. So they get 1 on that, which is absurd. A bad read. You know, he's misdirecting himself. You know, and it's just terrible. And that run should have scored. But nonetheless, they end up tied, and they go to the ninth. Bottom of the ninth, and you're thinking, hey, Suarez will be all right. But nope, He hits one 900 feet, just foul in left field, and then he hits one right field. And Fernando almost caught it too. If you see the replay, jumped up against the wall, almost had it, but not quite there. And unfortunate that they lost this game this way tonight. And I think Zaza's coming back up. You might get Zaza again. So, 4 players hit by pitches in the first 2 games of the series. Andy Paez, who was hit last night, gets hit again tonight. And this was by Steven Kolek call. But it was a cutter. It was barely over 90. I mean, you had Ohtani and Tati get hit last night. Roberts got ejected. It was just crazy. But, just the bad blood, Taylor Swift would love this. She could write a song about it, or maybe she already did. But interesting, right? 5 in a row for the Dodgers. They're 5-1 against the Padres this season. Emmett Sheehan, who? 1 run over 4 innings, first major league start in a year and a half after Tommy John surgery. Hey, he's the latest to look like Cy Young, Roger Clemens, Pedro Martinez, Don Drysdale, Sandy Koufax, and Christy Mathewson all rolled into one, right? We'll just stick with Dodgers. It looked like Koufax and Drysdale out there tonight, or Fernando Valenzuela. But, interestingly enough, the Padres with Jackson Merrill out, even worse offensively. 2-run single from Dalton Rushing in the 5th for the Dodgers when a night when Shohei and Mookie and Freddie and Teoscar Hernandez were 1 for 16 combined. Interesting, right? Ohtani strikes out with the bases loaded in the 7th. You end up tying it in the 9th. How do you not win this game? 0 for 8 since he pitched. This could be a real problem you might have to resort to rooting against the Dodgers pretty soon anyway as a Padre fan, because this season's going, where real fast, but he's 0 for 8 since he pitched. So there's that for you. And I know that has something to do with pitching. It's obviously the preparation and all that stuff. What's up, Zanocan? My man. Lockridge could have scored if he had run home on that double in the gap. Even Manny was screaming. That's what I was just talking about. He got a bad read on the ball, Zanocan. And, yeah, obviously, Rahul. Oh, man, all these Dodgers fans in there having fun. But, guys, our audience is huge. Love it. Hit that subscribe. Tap that bell so you know when we're coming your way with more content. You can download us anytime you want. Myself or Javier Reyes with Locked On Padres podcast. You can download us on anywhere where you listen to your podcast or download them. Spotify, Apple, iHeart, Stitcher, Podbean. You can get us on Roku after, or you can watch us live on YouTube right after the game, assuming StreamYard cooperates, which is not always the case. All right, Jim Greasehaber, call me Grease. Got to take a quick break. Let you know about a couple really good deals from sponsors who love to be here because the rising tide lifted all boats. We have millions of people in here. 220 shows. We set a record with 9 million impressions at the end of football season. The Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day, is here to stay. Still to come, break it down. Box score, summary, when they score, how'd they score. Oh, yeah, who cares? They lost again. Anyway, we'll do that. We'll give you the turning point. We'll give you the player of the game, and we'll look ahead to tomorrow. Jim Greasehaber, call me Grease, Padres Postcast on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Let me just make sure. Dun, 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 dun. All right. We have got, what are we doing here? No. There we go. And boom. All right. Ever check your bank account and wonder, hey, where did all my money go? Between dining out, online shopping, entertainment, all those things, Gaslamp District. It's easy to lose track. That is where Monarch Money comes in. Your personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Monarch Money isn't just a budgeting app. It's a complete financial command center. You can track all your accounts, investments, and spending in one place, so you stop just managing your money and start building wealth. You get surprising insights. I realized how much I was spending on food delivery when I started using Monarch Money. Now I budget smarter. I save more. All-in-one convenience is huge for me. Instead of juggling multiple apps, I can use Monarch to check my finances, track spending, even plan those long-term goals. And it's easy to collab. Partner, spouse, business partner, kid, whatever. It's smoother than ever with Monarch Money. Check shared and personal accounts, set goals, stay on the same page without the stress. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONMLB at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com. Code LOCKEDONMLB for half off your first year. Monarch Money on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. And okay. And go. There we go. All right, there we go. We got it. And I want to start with the second part of the read tonight because they give us a choice, and I always start with the first part. So I will say that whether you are gearing up for back-to-back meetings, shuttling kids back and forth to activities, or tackling an endless to-do list like I am, and I'll show it to you right now, your morning sets the tone for it all. That's right. That's why it should start with a perfect cup of coffee crafted just for you. Enter Trade. That's right. Trade is the #1 coffee destination in the U.S., delivering fresh, incredible coffee from over 50 of the top roasters in the country. So whether you're a cold brew fan or a pour-over purist, they got a roast you'll love. And I really enjoy it. They give you a quiz, right? It only takes a minute. They get your coffee profile. First bag they sent me, spot on. I'm like, man, they're not going to get this. They got it. The coffee was fresh. It smelled amazing. And honestly, hey, I didn't do grocery store coffee anyway, so it's been ruined. But if it hadn't been, it would be forever now. And if the first match isn't perfect, here's what I love more than anything. Trade will replace it for free until they get it just right. I love that their prices are comparable to grocery store brands. The flavor's on a whole nother level, though. So right now, Trade is exclusively offering you, our customer, 50% off. 1-month trial at drinktrade.com/LockedOnMLB. That's TRADE.com/LockedOnMLB for 50% off your 1-month trial. That's drinktrade.com/LockedOnMLB for Trade Coffee on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day. All right, Jim Greasehaber, call me Grease, and my little girl is deciding that she wants to be a star tonight. Say hi, Zaza. Say hi. Say, go Padres, beat the Dodgers at least once, will you please? And go play, sweetie. All right? Little kitten, just 11 weeks old. Thank you so much for being here, Padre fan. It's Padres Postcast in the Locked On Podcast Network. You also have Locked On Padres Podcast with Javier Reyes. Day in and day out, the news, the notes, the ins, the outs, everything with the Friars, right? Well, with me, we're right after the games. Assuming StreamYard cooperates. We're usually right after the games, but obviously YouTube, live right after the games, and then we upload Spotify, Stitcher, Podbean, iHeart, Apple, and Roku. All those, every single game on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every single day. The last time I saw a Padres game in person, Zanocan, oh Lord, I cannot, I'm on after the game, so I would say, I think the last time I saw one in person, it was the spring of last year. Last time I saw a Padres game in person, and I need to get out to the yard this year, and I will before the season's over, but I have to be right here in the seat as soon as the game's over, assuming StreamYard works correctly and everything's going the right way. So yeah, thank you for being here, Zenocan, and all y'all. Appreciate you. Smash that subscribe, hit the bell, and come on in the comments and say what's up. Do it on all the places, the apps, the destinations where you find us. All right, Jim Greasehaber, call me Grease. Got to get to it. It's the only way to get through it. I know 3 in a row to the Dodgers, 5-1 the Dodgers are against the Padres this year. And, you know, you had this stretch, 26 games in 27 days, including 7 against the Dodgers, 3 against the Diamondbacks. And then you had the Giants in there as well. And you split with the Giants. You lost 2 out of 3 against Arizona, and you're 1-5 against the Dodgers. So, yeah, not a good thing. All right, we got a couple of things to do and a short time to do them in. So let's say we start with this.
Time to reveal where the game was won or lost. It's the turning point.
All right, where the game was won or lost was in the bottom of the 9th inning when Robert Suarez hung that changeup to Big Willie style, all in it, getting jiggy with it, and Will Smith hit it to Timbuktu, or at least Calabasas, or whatever direction the right center field stands are facing it. And it barely got over the wall. It was a scraper. Fernando almost caught it, but man, Will Smith, 3 career pinch hit homers. Which brings us to...
This is the Locked On Player of the Game.
And who do you want to give the player of the game to tonight, right? Will Smith obviously is the player of the game. Bogaerts, Cronenworth drove in runs for the Padres. Kolek was good, you know, but just unbelievable, man. I don't want to give anybody the player of the game. But when you look at the damage that was done in this contest and you look at what people did, Arise was 2 for 4 with a run scored. Sheets was 1 for 4, 1 for 3 with an RBI and a run scored for Cronenworth. Bogaerts 1 for 4 with an RBI. Elias Diaz 1 for 4 with an RBI single. He got them on the board first. You know what I mean? But really nothing there. I mean, Kolek was good. 6 1/3, 6 hits, 3 earned runs. That's what you're going to get out of him. 5-6 innings, or you know, and 3 runs or such. And Peralta and Morgan. You know, Morgan was a bit of an adventure, but Peralta was good. And Suarez, obviously, not so much. And then for the Dodgers, when you're looking at their side, Smith got the game-winning home run. And again, remember, Ohtani, Betts, Freeman, and Hernandez were combined 1 for 16, 1 for 15. actually, because Mookie walked, and that was a single, I believe, by Freddie Freeman, who's leading the National League in batting average. Not that you would or should care about that, but Sheehan and Wrobleski, they weren't great. They weren't even all that good, but they got the job done. So Will Smith is the player of the game for the homer that walked it off. Let's see if you guys have anything to say. Vasquez player of the game, right? The Diamondbacks last year, honeymoon in July, man, he hit a walk-off. Couldn't have been happier in that moment. You'd love to have that moment right now. But yeah, Will Smith, the player of the game. Your turning point was his home run that won it 4-3 in the bottom of the ninth inning, his third pinch hit walk-off homer of his career, and the Dodgers beat the Padres. They're 5-1 against them this season, and obviously they've won the first 3 games of this series. Tomorrow, I love you tomorrow. Why? Because you're only a day away. And man, if the Padres can just steal one tomorrow, the Dodgers are big favorites with Yamamoto on the mound. He's 6-5 with a 2.64. Bogaerts is pitching for the Padres. 1-0, 2.33. The game is at 7:10 p.m. No getaway day start time. Thank you, MLB, for that one. But we'll be on right after the final pitch with your Padres postcast. Until then, Padre fan, keep your game tight and your mind right. Try not to get too depressed. Thank you, Zanocan. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We're working on those issues. All right. But I thank you so much for being here, and all of you for being here for Padres Postcast. And the download again, wherever you listen to your podcast, Spotify, Stitcher, Podbean, Apple, iHeart, of course, Roku after the fact, and live after the games on YouTube. Keep your game tight and your mind right, Padre fan. And thank you for watching Padres Postcast and Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Watch the podcast and Locked On MLB Game Night as well. Jim Greasehaber, call me Grease. I'm out.